We're in Winnipeg. The Fury against the Hamilton Steelers. And in their brand new home of Winnipeg Stadium. Hello again, everybody. I'm Vic Rauter, and welcome to CSL Sunday on TSN. We could set a record here this CSL Sunday. A crowd of some 10,000 expected. And so, as we say, the move for the Fury has paid off. And they hope certainly that this big crowd will go home happy today because they have had their problems. As we take a look at the Western standings, you can see that the Fury, despite their 8-game winless streak, are not out of it. Only 2 points behind that final playoff spot currently held by Edmonton. The Brickmen are playing in Montreal. In the East, Hamilton in third spot right now have an opportunity to move by Idle North York within 2 of Toronto, who are playing Calgary at Varsity Stadium. The Hamilton Steelers are winding up a 3-game road trip here in Winnipeg. It started a week ago against the Vistas in Victoria. Then on Friday night, they had a 1-1 tie against Vancouver as the 86ers extended their unbeaten streak to 38 games. So now they come in here. 2 days later, are they a tired team? Let's find out now, as Graham Leggett is standing by with the Steeler captain, Drew Ferguson.
Drew, you're coming off a tough road game. Victoria, Vancouver, 2 of the toughest sides in the league. Old guys like you must be getting a little weary.
Yeah, I think the old guys are, but I'm still not quite there yet for that category, Graham. But yeah, we've had a great road trip. We played in Victoria on a very large field, and we got a good 3-1 result there, which the team was very pleased of. And we just gone to Vancouver Friday and came away with a 1-1 draw, which is a really well-deserved point. I think we could have gone, you know, with a little bit of luck, we could have left with 2 points. And now we're here in Winnipeg for a game we hoping to take 2 points away from, and we'll be disappointed if we don't.
Well, I'm sure the crowd here will be delighted if you don't, because they expect a huge crowd. Drew, many thanks for joining us. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, Graham.
Graham, thank you very much. Joining us now, the player-coach of these Winnipeg Fury, Sean Lowther. The injury bug, it has been a problem. This will be the first game, I guess, in quite a few where you've almost got a totally full lineup except for the goalkeeper, Pat Onstad.
That's correct. It wasn't since our last game against Everton, first game of the season, where we had a full lineup, and today we'll have everyone back except for Bobby Monahan and Pat Onstad.
What about this stadium and playing on turf? I know you've been familiar with it, but what's it like to play all your games here?
Actually, this turf is one of the better types of artificial turfs, and just like grass, you have different surfaces. It's the same with artificial surfaces, so it plays quite well. It plays fast, and it gives an enjoyable game.
Sean, thank you very much. We wish you the best of luck. The wind, it may be a little bit of a problem because it's blowing right out of the north. When we come back from Winnipeg Stadium, we have the Winnipeg Fury, the Hamilton Steelers. CSL Sunday on TSN is a Foster's telecast. It's the Hamilton Steelers, the Winnipeg Fury, CSL Sunday on TSN, and look at the crowd. They've got a great promotion staff here in Winnipeg, headed by General Manager Mike McKee, and what a job they have done. A record crowd of some 10,000 expected at their new home of Winnipeg Stadium. There you see the Winnipeg Arena. That's the home of the Winnipeg Jets as we take a look at the starting 11 for Vid Horvat and the Hamilton Steelers.
And he's going with a 4-4-2, Dolan in goal. The back four, Morrow, Ferguson, Marinaro and Boyne. The mid four, Ianiero, Gray, Vanis and Purdy. And up front, the Argentinian connection, Gasparini and Chazaretta.
The starting keeper for the Hamilton Steelers, 23-year-old Paul Dolan. A year ago, the #1 goalie in the CSL with 10 shutouts and a .96 goals against average, an all-star in 1988. The starting 11 now for the Winnipeg Fury and player coach Sean Lowther.
Well, he's lining up a little different. He's going with a 3-4-3. Brian Rosenfeld over from Toronto in goal. The back three, Tony Nachito, Sean Lowther and Ian McLean. The midfield four, Foley, Cambridge, Burns and Clark. And up front, the 3 strikers, Van Dremelen, Hardy and Jeff Unger.
Brian Rosenfeld, on Friday, a backup keeper in Toronto, now recalled because he was on loan to Toronto, and with the injury to Pat Onstad, has been recalled to the Fury and is their starting keeper. He played 4 games for the Fury last year with a record of 1-3. They are playing on the artificial turf here at Winnipeg Stadium, and the out-of-bounds lines, you won't be able to see them that well, but they are about another 2 yards wider than the football markings, as they play half in shadow and half in the sunlight here at Winnipeg Stadium. All right, you're on artificial turf. How do you play? Many NASL players remember this. Most stadiums are like this.
Well, it teaches you to play the ball to feed, because if you hit it long and hope to run onto it, the ball will run away from you. So look for balls to be played a lot more to feet.
Thrown out to the near side for Mark Purdy. Into the middle for Jerry Gray, and he'll play it back to his keeper, Paul Dolan. The Hamilton Steelers in the traditional Hamilton colors of gold shirts, black shoulders, and black shorts, and the Winnipeg Fury in all white with red numbers. Oh, the mistake by Rosenfeld, and Purdy was there to capitalize, and there is the new keeper getting in trouble, and Mark Purdy, a newcomer to the Hamilton Steelers in a trade with Toronto, right there to pounce on the mistake, and they have a quick goal.
And watch the bounce of the ball. It goes up too high. Mark Purdy gets to it first, tucks it past Rosenfeld just under the crossbar. After 2 minutes, it's 1-0 for Hamilton. There's the bounce. Mistake by the goalkeeper and the defender, but Mark Purdy, full marks for being alert, taking his opportunity beautifully.
Mark Purdy gets the goal, and Hamilton quickly have a 1-0 lead, and this big crowd stunned here at Winnipeg Stadium, expecting a better performance and certainly a better start. Mark Purdy, who joined the team from trade in Toronto with Toronto that brought Colin Samuel and Paul Hammond to the Steelers in exchange for Tom Pan-Hewson. In 1987, Mark Purdy played in Ottawa. Paul Dolan booms it upfield. Lucio Ianiero can't get away. Jeff Onger makes the run, and then he's stopped right at midfield. Lado Vanis, the newcomer from Yugoslavia, charged with the foul by the referee, Mr. Mario Porino. Tony Nachita being bumped off the ball, and it'll go into touch. The referee is Mr. Mario Porino, the near side linesman, Willie Laidlaw. On the far side, Tom Lamont, and the fourth official is Enrico Cabriotti. 1-0. The Hamilton Steelers leading on a goal by Mark Purdy at 2 minutes. And that ball winds up in the first row of seats here at Winnipeg Stadium. But do you think that that's a problem? The fact that the keeper was new here, that Rosenfeld hasn't played before?
No, I don't think so. Rosenfeld come off his line pretty well. The back header was short. Rosenfeld couldn't get to it. Mark Purdy could, and it's 1-0 Hamilton. The header back from the defender wasn't strong enough to give Rosenfeld any chance of getting to the ball.
Mark Purdy plays it forward. Cambridge trying to win the ball, and the foul is on number 10, Jerry Gray of the Hamilton Steelers.
No foul.
Cambridge plays it through quickly. Now they'll lay it back for Tony Nachita. Nachita works along the football sideline, cuts it in front. Here's the opportunity, cleared away. Vanderlyn, Dolan, oh, just over the bar. Jeff Onger had the final touch and just put it over the bar, but the Fury came oh so close to tying it up.
Came oh so close on about 3 different occasions. A good run by Tony Nachita. It's knocked low in, and it's shielded well. The original shot is blocked. Now watch it come back out again. Clark has a go, it's blocked. Unger has it bounced there, but it just goes high. Great opportunity there for the Winnipeg Fury to tie it up, and they just could not get the finishing touch.
Cambridge, midfield, throws it forward for Dave Hardy. He'll go to the far side for Paul Clark, and it'll run just a little too quickly, and that's the problem with artificial turf.
It's also a problem if there's a little bit of a camber on the field, but I must say, in fairness to the artificial turf in this stadium, it's as nice as I've seen it. It's lush, it's spongy. Certainly no complaints from the players, I would think, except the ball will take the odd bounce a little higher than it normally does.
Hector Marinaro plays it forward, looking for Chazaretta, and the pass doesn't go. Clark controls. Onger gets his boot up into the face of Marinaro.
But the foul's given against Hector Marinaro for showing his cleats there. Referee Mario Perino right on the spot. As soon as Marinaro blocked that shot by Onger with his studs, the whistle went.
Cleared away. Lowther tries one from exactly 30 yards out, we know.
Yeah.
And it goes wide of the far post. This system of Winnipeg's 3-4-3 with only 3 men at the back, I suggested to Sean Lowther that might be dangerous. I mean, they've given up 24 goals. That's second highest in the league this year. But you think it's really not such a bad idea?
Well, Sean Lowther, I think, has made a very good move because he knows that the Hamilton Steelers play with two front runners on today's game, Gasparini and Chazaretta. So, in effect, all he needs to play at the back is 3 defenders, because you always have an extra defender just to cover. So what's the point of playing 4 back when there's only 2 front runners? And I like his attitude too. He said if we can play 1 less at the back, we can push 1 forward more and perhaps score some more goals.
Ian McLean crosses it in, and there was Dolan to easily pull it down like an outfielder. Purdy for Chazaretta. Bumped off the ball, but retains control to Purdy. And now for Amadeo Gasparini, Sean Lowther to mark him. Running into space, Jerry Gay, Lucio Ianiero, and then Rosenfeld is out. And the Steelers coming so close. Jerry Gray, the veteran. 40 international caps playing for Canada, picked up in a trade with Ottawa. 3 goals a year ago, a member of the '86 Canadian World Cup team. The bump from behind by Guido Boyne, and the foul is on him. Cambridge lays it through for Hardy. Now they'll set it up again through their player coach Sean Lowther, who gets away from Chazaretta. And then Purdy charged with handball. Van Dremelen lays it back. Nachita into the middle. Onger lays it off. Cambridge is there to control. Cambridge trying to fight for the ball, and now the foul will be on Cambridge, who went over the back of Jerry Gray. '22-year-old Jeff Cambridge, 2 goals so far this year, had 5 a year ago for the Fury. Their goal production is down. They only have 12 goals so far this season, and probably due in most part to the fact that they've missed so many of their players.
Well, anytime you have twice as many goals against as you have goals for, you know you're having a poor season. That goes without saying.
Sean Lowther will head that ball over the end line, and it'll be a corner kick for the Hamilton Steelers. Jerry Gray will take the corner. There you get an idea of about the 1.5 to 2 yards extra width on either side of the football sidelines. Purdy, Chazaretta, Morrow, Gasparini. Gasparini makes the run to the middle. They lay it back for Marinaro, looking for the head of Gasparini. Doesn't get there. Marinaro following it up, and it'll go off Cambridge and over the end line. Jerry Gray to take it again. Cuts it in this time. Chazaretta will head it down. Third straight corner kick. Gasparini gets up and over everybody, and that's what they hope from this man. Amadeo Gasparini has goal number 4.
And Brian Rosenfeld is lying on the ground in anguish because he knows that there's no way inside the 6-yard box that the goalkeeper should be out-jumped. Watch Gasparini rise. Where's the goalkeeper? Too late. Easy goal for Gasparini. There's no way that a goalkeeper should give up a goal to a header inside that 6-yard box. There it is again. Rosenfeld a little late. Maybe he's suffering from jet lag coming over from Toronto, but that was not a good effort on behalf of Brian Rosenfeld. Goal to Gasparini makes it 2-0.
And that goal, Graham, for Gasparini, his 4th of the season, comes at the 11-minute mark, and 2-0 Hamilton. What a game for the Steelers as they're coming off a very big game the other night in Vancouver, a 1-1 tie. Gasparini got the only goal there, and Coach Vid Horvad was very worried about a mental letdown coming into this game against the Fury.
I don't think you need worry because they're looking pretty sharp this evening, and I must say that they've had 2 chances and they've taken them both.
Paul Dolan puts it down, tees it up for Hector Marinaro. Dave Foley into the middle for Cambridge, plays it forward for Van Dremelen. Jerry Van Dremelen back for Nachita. Steve Burns goes across looking for Clark. Can he get there? No, it'll skip through and over the end line. Vid Horvat. 3 wins and a tie since he took over from Dave Turner as head coach of the Hamilton Steelers. Horvat, the head coach a year ago, then left the team before this season. Dave Turner took over and had his difficulties with owner Mario Di Bartolomeo, and so the call went out again for Vid Horvat, and he answered. Mark Purdy just a little too quick, and he's offside. Well, from the start, you would think that the Fury are the newcomers to this artificial turf and not the Hamilton Steelers.
Well, the Hamilton Steelers in the first year in the CSL played most of the games on Ivor Wynne Stadium, so they're not unaccustomed to artificial turf, although I must say with all the changes in the league this year, you can hardly remember who played for Hamilton 2 years ago.
Tony Nachita to Sean Lowther. Into the middle for Jeff Onger. And now the offside ball. Dave Hardy made a run too quickly. And then he bangs one off the crossbar. The kind of game we saw the other night with Flamengo and how they play the ball to feet all the time. Is that the kind of thing you have to do on artificial turf?
Yes, it is, but the only problem, you play it to feet and then you push a ball through. The ball has to be extra specially accurate because it tends to run away from you. It skids on this artificial turf, so unless it's played beautifully and the timing is perfect, then it doesn't have the required result.
Chazaretta for his Argentinian teammate Gasparini, and it doesn't get there. Hardy chips it through, and then it's cut off by Hector Marinaro. This is Mark Purdy. The overlapping run by Guido Boyne. The ball doesn't go there. It goes into the middle instead for Vlado Vanis to Gasparini. And now the play very close at midfield. Steve Burns stopped by Jerry Gray. Sean Lowther follows up. Guido Boyne puts the shoulder into the back of Dave Foley. This is Cambridge. Clark makes a run, goes into the middle for Lowther. Near side for Nichita. The Fury trail 2-0. They need a goal and need it badly. Lowther, Cambridge, a little one-touch passing. Will it pay off? Foley trying to get it across. Oh, and it's just out of the reach. And then it's pushed into touch. But again, the Fury coming so close, and where Hamilton capitalized on their 2 chances, the Fury haven't been able to.
Well, the Fury are not getting the run of the ball. It just seemed to be an inch away from a final touch twice, and it could well have been 2-2 right now.
Rosenfeld just pushes it out to Sean Lowther. Sean was mentioning to me in our conversation this morning at the hotel that he thinks the game is much faster on artificial turf, that you have to pick up your pace a little bit just to keep up with the ball. You think so?
Well, you may well be right.
Cambridge, near post, just misses.
I've only played on AstroTurf once, and it was about 90 degrees in the air and about 200 degrees on the turf. I know it's very hot down there, and I do know the ball skids along. The grass tends to make it sit down more. The grass tends to slow the ball down a little more. So obviously the ball will go along the surface of the turf a lot quicker than it will on grass.
Throw in for the Fury, and Clark for Jerry Van Dremelen. Gets by the mark. Van Dremelen gets it across. And then just a wall of yellow shirts. You get the feeling there could be 7, 8 goals before this one is over. And let's not forget that the Fury were involved in that 7-3 game with Edmonton, the Brickman winning. Mark Purdy on the near side. Maybe tried to sneak by the linesman in the shadows, but he was caught.
Well, he tried to sneak by the defenders about 2 minutes ago when Jerry Gray was in possession, and Mark Purdy, forgetting where the lines were, was standing 5 yards outside the yellow line waiting for the ball to be played to, and then realized he was off the field and had to go back on in. Very difficult for the players, because you develop a habit of reacting to white lines. Now they have to react to a very pale yellowish one this evening, and it's difficult.
Tony Nichita will play it to Lowther. Lowther into the middle. They go across the field for Hardy to Clark. But Lucio Iniero was back to mark for Hamilton. Lowther all over the back line. There you get an idea. Paul Clark using that extra 1.5 to 2 yards beyond the football markings to dance down the sideline.
Ooh, and I think he turned his ankle just as he cut inside Hector Marinaro there. Doesn't look good at all.
And trainer Jim Ramsey is on his way out to have a look at the ankle of Paul Clark, the 25-year-old, in his 3rd season. 2 goals so far this year. He only has had 3 in his first 2 seasons, so it's a good year for Paul Clark.
Yes, it is, and Paul Clark had just skinned Iniero. He cuts inside. Actually, it was through Ferguson he cut inside, then seemed to turn on his ankle as his cleats stuck on the artificial turf.
And in many ways, I suspect that's the similarity between, say, a lush grass field and the turf. You can get caught.
And that's the last thing that player coach Sean Lowther wants to see. Paul Clark go off. Already on the field, Tony Nichita and Doug Hardy are both nursing ankle injuries and certainly not 100% fit.
So they're going to play short for a while. Rosenfeld punches it away. Vlado Banis for Iniero. But right there to challenge Rosenfeld was Amadeo Gasparini. Van Dremelen lays it back for Jeff Onger. He goes for Hardy, past him. This is Dave Foley. Hardy and Van Dremelen are in the middle. Cambridge will take control. Hardy, Dolan.
Well, Doug Hardy may have a bad ankle, but he certainly controlled that ball beautifully and hit it superbly. But Paul Dolan isn't the #1 goalkeeper in the league for nothing. He covered it well. And while we're speaking about goalkeepers, we knocked Brian Rosenfeld perhaps for the first 2 goals. Showed lots of courage to come out and clear that ball with Amadeo Gasparini looking him right in the face. Good goalkeeping. Maybe he'd take a little while to settle in with his new club. Traveling and then trying to get to know everybody, then going straight out to play. Not perhaps the best preparation for a game like this.
Hector Marinado played a little too far for Ladovanis. Cambridge to Foley for Onger, right at his feet. And Gary Morrow marking him. Tony Nachita. Cambridge. We've played 21 minutes of this first half. An explosive first half for the Hamilton Steelers. They lead 2-0 on goals by Mark Purdy at 2 minutes and Amadeo Gasparini at 11. Cambridge. Jerry Gray. Into the middle for Lucio Ianiero. Lays it off. Cut back into the middle, and there was nobody there. And the offside as Gasparini had gotten in behind the defensive 2. There you see the score. CSL Sunday on TSN. 2-0 Hamilton. A win in this game would move Hamilton into 2nd place in the Eastern Division, ahead of Idle North York. Jerry Gray heels it back, and then he goes down after the tackle by Ian McLean, and Jerry Gray loading it up. Mario Perino calling for the trainer.
Well, Jerry Gray catches Ian McLean right off stride with this little turn. McLean just catches him on the ankle, had no option because Jerry Gray had really skinned him.
It's 2-0. Hamilton leading the Winnipeg Fury. CSL Sunday on TSN is a Foster's telecast. Look at the great crowd here at Winnipeg Stadium. Certainly a little disappointed by the start of their Winnipeg Fury, down 2-0 to the Hamilton Steelers. And we've played 23 minutes of this first half. Vic Rauter along with Graham Leggett. Jerry Gray is up and walking it off, limping just a little bit. His free kick. Hector Marinado from about 25 yards out, and he goes wide of the near post.
Goes wide of the near post thanks to the Winnipeg Fury wall who stood the ground. That's what they're there for.
Jerry Gray's ankle good enough for him to take this corner kick. This is the 4th corner for the Steelers here in the first half. They've scored off of one already. Gasparini this time. It was headed away neatly by the Fury, and it'll go into touch, and it'll be a throw-in for Hamilton. Drew Ferguson looks for Purdy, and then it's cleared away by Nachita.
Get it down. Get away, Sean. Sean, away. Sean, get him out.
You can hear Brian Rosenfeld saying, get him out. Come on, Sean, clear it away. And Rosenfeld now, as you may suggest, getting more into the game. Jeff Onger following it up for the Fury. Van Dremelen makes a run into the middle for Winnipeg. Hardy is there as well, and the cross by Onger will go behind the net.
And there you get an idea of the wind. You can hear it in the microphones. Very strong wind blowing virtually straight down the field behind Winnipeg.
Right out of the north. So the wind at this point right into the face of the Hamilton Steelers, but they lead 2-0. Ian McLean climbed up the back of Amadeo Gasparini, and he's charged with the foul. Mr. Perino saying, let's take it again.
Coming across.
Hector Marinado waits, looks. Jerry Gray, little give and go, but Jeff Onger was there to take the ball away. This is Cambridge. And then he gives it right back to the Steelers, and it's again very close at midfield. Sean Lowther into the sunshine on the far side. Vlado Vanis heads it down, and this is Vanis trying to make the run upfield. Finally loses control as he tried to do it all himself. Lowther then gives it away for Gasparini. And the knock from behind by Jeff Onger. Not much of a knock, but he kicked him at his ankle.
Well, Jeff Onger pushed the ball away. It was Ian McLean who came in. A little bit of a sandwich there, a Gasparini sandwich. Watch Onger push the ball away, but McLean obstructs him, gets the free kick against him.
Jerry Gray chips it in. Again, he finds the head of Gasparini, but this time the obstruction call, the foul is on Amadeo Gasparini. A tough start for that man. Ryan Rosenfeld, the keeper, on loan to Toronto. And then with Pat Onstad hurt, the Fury decided to go with their young substitute keeper, Marno Olofsson, a 19-year-old out of soccer and local soccer here in Winnipeg. He got shelled a couple of times, and they just didn't think he was standing up under the pressure, and they really needed the experience.
Yeah, they did, and the biggest cheer of the game so far from these Winnipeg fans is when Mario Perino tried to trap the ball and fell over it. So I must say the fans getting into this game, a huge crowd. It looks like the current 7,995 record crowd for a CSL game is going to be broken this evening.
Steve Burns across the field for Paul Clark, who has shaken off his ankle turn. Hardy lays it back for McLean. Up the field for Van Dremelen. Gary Morrow is there. Van Dremelen over the end bar. A reminder to stay with us after the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by AC Delco. CSL Sunday on TSN. Hamilton leading Winnipeg 2-0 here at Winnipeg Stadium.
And it looks like Jerry Gray's injury is a little more serious. I think he may have strained a groin, and Robbie Clue, number 15 for the Hamilton Steelers, is coming on as substitute for Jerry Gray.
Ironically, Robbie Clue was penciled into the lineup this morning to replace Vlado Vanis. Vid Horvat not sure his Yugoslavian midfielder would be able to play, but he looked good in the warm-up, so he pulled Clue out and said that Clue would go in if Vanis couldn't handle the game. Now, ironically, he goes in to replace the healthy Jerry Gray. There he is, Robbie Clue, the 26-year-old, 3 goals a year ago, a member of Canada's national program.
And Vid Horvath, like most of the coaches in this league, struggling to get a full quota of players on the bench. In fact, he even dressed assistant coach Paul Hammond this evening because they have so few players left.
Sean Lowther into the sunshine for Paul Clark. Jeff Onger for Lowther. Nachita near side. We've played 30 minutes of this first half. 2-0 Hamilton leading. Nachita with the throw in. Cambridge. Onger. Lowther. Cambridge to the feet for Cambridge. Little give and go to Hardy. And it doesn't go. Chazaretta. Boyne. This is Mark Purdy.
Hey!
Nachita.
Clark, you can't let him go!
Played upfield looking for Gasparini. He's there. Amadeo Gasparini trying to maintain control, and then it's cleared away by Sean Lowther. But even with 3 white shirts around him, Fury players, Gasparini looks dangerous.
He looked pretty strong there, and him and Ian McLean were having a pretty big battle to see who could push each other off the ball, but it came down to too many white shirts.
Little Lucio Ianiero guilty of the foul, pushing on the defender, and so it'll be a free kick for the Fury. Fury have had their chances. They just haven't been able to put them away. Hamilton has had 2 and capitalized on both. Rosenfeld upfield. Foley to Onger, and then he just gives it away as he couldn't control. Again, Purdy trying to send Gasparini away. Purdy. Chazaretta is in the middle. McLean watching the big Argentinian striker, and he gets away. Gasparini goes it for it himself. And then in the middle was Purdy saying, I was open, why didn't you lay it out to me? But Gasparini thought he had the near side.
Good skills by Amadeo Gasparini to make the opening, but the final shot, no threat at all to Brian Rosenfeld, and Mark Purdy screaming for the ball, wide open, didn't get it.
Steve Burns with the run for Cambridge, for Onger. Foley makes a run. Nachita, it bounces through, and then everybody lets it go.
And Tony Nachita won't be pleased with that effort. It was running beautifully. Didn't quite get behind it and crack it as he meant to. Loves to come forward. Prefers to play in midfield, as I've said so many times before. One of Canada's most talented young players.
And he is the Iron Man of this Fury side. He played in all 28 games a year ago. Tony Nachita. Paul Clark with Ianiero right there for Hamilton. Onger, a little push by Robbie Clew, blown down by Mr. Perino. Robbie Clew, if I was saying it properly, would be what?
Well, coming from Scotland, he would have to say Robbie Clough, but he says Robbie Clew, so doesn't matter how you say it or spell it, he's still a good player. Sean
Lowther trying to get by, and he gave it away. The big run. Oh, Vlado Vanis, a 3-on-1 break with Chezaretta and Amadeo Gasparini, and he decided to shoot.
Well, Amadeo Gasparini didn't make a very smart move there, because he would have been offside. He should have stayed back. But Ladovanis sees the ball running nicely. He thinks the goalkeeper's going to cut the cross ball, tries a shot. Well, high, wide, and as I've said so often before, not very handsome.
Steve Burns for Clark. Cuts into the middle, lays it back for Burns. Onger. Lowther. Cambridge goes down in a heap. Long ball by Chazaretta. Gasparini again. McLean trying to catch up. Gasparini. And Gasparini pushing off, and he's guilty of the foul on McLean.
But 2-3 times already this evening, Amadeo Gasparini has shown that he's got just too much speed for Ian McLean. They're both big men. They both look a little cumbersome when they're running, but so far it's Gasparini who's won the races. And now we see that Jeff Cambridge is down injured.
Jeff Cambridge, 2 goals so far this year in his 3rd season with the Fury.
Well, he overstretched for the ball, trod on the top of the ball, and you get lots of ankle injuries on this turf. We can see the trainer strapping up that right ankle, and I'm sure that Sean Lowther says, oh no, not another ankle injury.
Head coach Sean Lowther, there was some question whether in fact you can play and coach at the same time. He comes from a team, Vancouver, where in fact Bobby Lenarduzzi did it for 2 years. Bobby deciding to go to the bench, sit on the bench this year. Some people suggest you cannot do it. Lowther says he can.
But Horvath doesn't want to. He prefers to sit on the bench and talk to the players. But Sean Lowther's still a very good player, and it would have been a terrible waste for the Canadian Soccer League to sit him on the bench when he can add so much on the field.
Steve Burns makes the run just inside the shadows for Jeff Onger. For Van Dremelen to Nachita. Cambridge. And he plays it through for Onger, and Jeff Onger will do an awful lot of running for the Fury. You see him up front, you see him helping out in the back as well.
And that would have been a perfect ball on grass, because it would have just slowed down enough for Jeff Onger to reach it. But as you saw there, it just went further and further away from the young midfielder.
McLean wins the ball away, plays it upfield. And Hector Marinaro picked up in a trade with the North York Rockets, the former member of the Toronto Blizzard for 2 years. The Hamilton Steelers sent keeper Don Ferguson to North York for Marinaro. Little pushing, a little shoving. Gary Morrow is right there in the middle of it, along with Dave Foley, number 12 for the Winnipeg Fury. This free kick will come right from the 20-yard line. And so you know exactly how far back they're supposed to be, 10 yards. Let's see how far they go. There's no questioning this.
No pacing it out here, it's all marked. Right now they're 9 yards away. And I'm sure that Mario Perino will say, just stand on the line, folks, and I'll wait till you're there.
Well, he's giving them a benefit of the doubt, is he? Now you see, now you can hear the talk. Got to give him 10. Steve Burns is there, so is Onger. Cambridge is behind them. Little touch through. Burns will try it. Can't get it by Cesaretta. Still just outside the box. Foley to control. Still in play. And it's pushed over the sideline. Throw in for the Fury. Onger will leave it for Nachita. Onger moves to the middle. Gary Morrow takes control. This is Nachita. Chips it in front. Cambridge. Oh! Cambridge got there first, and he nodded it past to charging Paul Dolan.
And he acknowledges that it was a perfect cross. It swung over. Paul Dolan can't get to it. Cambridge get the back of his head to it as he stretched, and he could not quite get it on target. But nevertheless, he's able to go over and take the corner kick.
Squinting into the sunshine, Cambridge puts it in. It's flicked through. Oh, and nicely nodded through, and Dolan was there this time. Boyne for Purdy. Can't get away from Onger. And then Purdy gets a foot in, and he's charged with the foul. McLean, Onger. Sean Lowther will take control. Clark. The ball running now for Steve Burns. Hardy is in the middle. Van Dremelen is up. Foley is up. They go for Cambridge. This is Hardy who just tries to maybe volley it through, and he can't get it there. Dolan picks it off the turf. You see it just over 5 minutes to play.
And he couldn't get it there simply because that artificial turf bounce just took the ball a little too high for him. Had that been on grass, it would have sat down nicely. Little flick, could well have been 2-1, but one thing about this artificial turf, it bounces the same way for both sides, so you can't complain about it.
Hector Cesaretta with the throw-in for Hamilton. Some neat work by the Fury as they work it upfield. The long ball for Jeff Onger, who tries to get in between Marinaro and Dolan and just didn't have the speed to get there. Dolan, Marinaro, Guido Boyne, Cesaretta. Gasparini has made the run, but he's offside by 2 or 3 steps. Amedeo Gasparini has one of the goals at 11 minutes. Mark Purdy at 2 minutes. And Hamilton with a 2-0 lead over the Winnipeg Fury. Clark for the Fury. Burns. Onger. And Van Dremelen didn't know which way to go, and it was played behind it.
Well, what Hamilton are doing, they're just letting Winnipeg Fury keep possession in front of them. At the moment, only Amedeo Gasparini is up front. Every now and again, Mark Purdy wanders up to join them up front, but they're certainly not playing with more than 2 front runners. At times, only 1.
Van Dremelen has a chance if he can get it across, but it'll go off Gary Morrow and over the end line, and it'll be corner kick for the Fury.
And if you were able to count them there as they broke on the left, there were 7 yellow shirts back.
Well, they have that 2-0 lead, but it may be too early to start protecting just 2 goals. Cambridge into the middle. Hardy goes up. It bounces past him, and it's cleared away by Vladovanis. Ianiero forward for Amedeo Gasparini. Gasparini settles it down. Chazaretta, the through ball, Gasparini! And coming all the way back to clear it away was Foley.
And just as well, because Gasparini played a beautiful 1-2, accelerated past the defense, and Dave Foley did oh so well. Watch this. Watch him lay it square. Now watch him go for the return. Good ball. Dave Foley right there to knock it away from him. Good covering by Foley. But not a bad 1-2 by Gasparini.
With Jerry Gray on the bench, Mark Purdy now taking the corner kicks. Purdy gets it across. Cambridge is there to head it away. Marinero for Hamilton. And then he'll just roll it through and over the end line. It'll be keeper's ball. Paul Clark for Rosenfeld. Upfield, Morrow. And this one will just run too far, too fast. Guido Boyne plays it back for Paul Dolan. Hector Marinero for Robbie Clew and back. And the Hamilton Steelers quite content now to maybe run out the clock here in the dying moments of this first half, leading 2-0. Marinero decides to make the run as he sees the middle open up, and then Gasparini can't make the give and go work. Vladovanis trying to get through again. Jeff Onger waiting for somebody to make space. Hardy over Foley, and he gives it away. And then Gasparini a little too far. Halftime at Varsity Stadium, or pardon me, at Centennial Stadium in Toronto, the new home of the Toronto Blizzard, and they lead Calgary. The Strikers opening a road trip to the East, 1-0 at halftime. And in the first half at Claude Robillard, Edmonton and Montreal are scoreless.
Come on. Okay.
And there's the whistle from Mr. Mario Parino, and a game which probably should be a tie 2-2, but the run of the ball and the breaks have gone to Hamilton.
Well, the first 11 minutes for the Winnipeg Fury was a total disaster, not only for them, but for the goalkeeper, Brian Rosenfeld. However, from then on, they've come into the game. They had the chances, couldn't take them. Still 45 minutes to go, folks.
With the score, Hamilton 2, Winnipeg 0. You're watching Foster CSL Sunday on TSN. Halftime here at Winnipeg Stadium in front of what they expect will be a record crowd for a CSL game, which should make this gentleman, Vice President of the Fury and the President of the CSL, Ray Blumenfeld, very happy.
We're exceptionally pleased with the kind of crowd we got tonight. We
But-
finally beat Vancouver at something, so we're very excited about it, and it's really a testimony to the kind of work our board of directors has been doing, and it just really shows the importance of what the corporate sponsorship means to our league. One of the sponsors gets behind us, works with us in one of these programs, and this is the result tonight.
Yeah, the local supermarkets, super stores got behind you.
The Real Canadian Superstores, they have a chain called Super Value. I believe they have 6 outlets in Winnipeg, and they've done an absolutely fabulous job with us.
All right, as president of this league 3 years in now, there are some problems. You have some franchises struggling financially. Will it survive?
The league will survive, and we're positive of that. But like any new venture, and we're only into our 3rd year, there's still a lot of changes that are going on within the league, and there are going to be some failures along the way. But the dedication of the people on our board, the governors from each of the clubs, are putting in a yeoman's effort, trying to keep the league going. Again, it's in infantile stages, and we're doing the best we can to keep things going. And the quality of the play is growing. The crowds are up again this year. Corporate sponsorship is getting bigger, but there are some isolated spots where we're having some trouble.
All right, you're going to add a team next year in Halifax. Enough players to go around without diluting the talent, because some teams suggest that that's already a problem.
I guess you could ask 10 different people and get 10 different opinions on how that's going to work out. Just from a promotion marketing point of view, it's a great opportunity for us. There's some great fans in Atlantic Canada. We'll take advantage of that, and the players and the level of play will come along with that.
All right, Ray, what would you do now as a president? What do you want to do to enhance this league further for the rest of this year and for a 4th year?
Well, there are really 2 sides to the game as far as I'm concerned. One is the technical side, and the other is the marketing. And the technical side is being looked after through our association with the Canadian Soccer Association, the national and Olympic team programs as they get stronger. And as the coaches get better, so will the level of play come. And there's also the marketing side of the league. Without the credibility we gain from your involvement, TSN's involvement, I don't know where we would be. And along with that will come the corporate sponsors like we see out here tonight, and that's a real plus for
Well,
us.
you're to be congratulated. The Fury, one of the hardest working teams off the field, certainly when you see crowds like this. Congratulations to you, and best of luck as president of the CSA.
Thank you very much, and thanks to you and Graham for all you've done.
Our pleasure. When we come back, Graham will join me, and we will have highlights for you of this first half. And unfortunately for, I'd say 9,000 plus here at Winnipeg Stadium, it has been all Hamilton Steelers. They lead 2-0. CSL Sunday is a Foster's telecast. Hamilton with a 2-0 lead over the Winnipeg Fury halftime here at Winnipeg Stadium, the new home of the Fury, as they've moved a little closer to the city to try and attract the crowd, and they've done a good job that way, but certainly on the field they have to be disappointed with the start.
Well, disappointed with the result to date. I think that the way Winnipeg played after there were 2 goals down is not at all badly. Unfortunately, in this game, you've got to take the chances when they arise. Hamilton did, Winnipeg didn't, and that's been the story of the first half.
Brian Rosenfeld, the new keeper, recalled on loan. He was with the Blizzard, recalled here, directly responsible in the first goal.
Well, Brian Rosenfeld can't be blamed too much, simply because it's a long ball that catches the defense square. Now, Foley tries to head it back to Rosenfeld, doesn't get it strongly enough. Rosenfeld's in no man's land. Mark Purdy nips in, tucks it under the bar, 1-0 after 2 minutes. This is a long ball hit through by Drew Ferguson. Winnipeg are only playing with 3 at the back, so they're short. It's up to Foley to get it back to Rosenfeld. He can't. Full marks to Purdy, nips in. Great goal, opportunism. Half a chance, he took it well, but this one we can't blame Rosenfeld for. Jerry Gray swings the ball in. It's 2 yards inside the box. Gasparini gets to it first. Little flick. After 11 minutes, it's 2-0 Hamilton. Another look, you can see that Rosenfeld not quite quick enough to beat Gasparini to it inside the box. It should be a goalkeeper's goal. 2-0, Gasparini delighted. What a great road trip this has been for Hamilton.
Well, they started off, of course, with a win in Victoria. They had a 1-1 tie against Vancouver, and now leading 2-0 here.
But it's never over till it's over, as Yogi Berra said. There's 45 minutes to go. There's a huge crowd here to shout on the Winnipeg Fury. Let's see what happens in the second half.
When Ray Blumenfeld came up to join us, he said, you know, it's too bad. We just can't get it all together. They have it from a marketing standpoint, But when it comes to on the field, that's where this Fury side is struggling. 5-game losing streak, winless in 8. And they trail here 2-0 as we're ready for the second half. Your referee, Mr. Mario Perino, making sure that both sides have the required number of players on the field. Checks his watch, and we're underway. Second half action here at Winnipeg Stadium. Sean Lowther for Rosenfeld. To the near side. Ian McLean. Little too far as he was looking for Van Dremelen. And now the sun has moved a little bit more to the north, and you can see that just the north end of the field, that little part, is in sunlight. The rest of the field totally in shade here at Winnipeg Stadium. Drew Ferguson pushes it forward, and it'll go into touch. Throw in for the Hamilton Steelers. Ian Hierro leaves it for Vladovanis. Mark Purdy can't get away from Lowther. Hardy. And played back for Rosenfeld. Rolls it near side, McLean. And there you get the idea of the 3 men at the back, 4 in the midfield, and 3 up front for the Winnipeg Fury. Kevin Antonio has come into the game for the Winnipeg Fury, replacing Paul Clark on the right side of the midfield as Jerry Van Dremelen is slow to get up and holding his right hip. Kevin Antonio, a 17-year-old, an under-20 Western All-Star. Antonio with his first touch of the ball for Lowther. Onger. Some nice passing by the Fury as they work it upfield. Nichita comes into the middle for Burns. Oh, and he just one-touched it off the forehead of Vladovanis. Little bump and finally cleared away by Gary Morrow.
You're right when you said some nice passing by the Winnipeg Fury, but just as they did in the first half, they're failing to penetrate. Hamilton are taking 7-8 shots back, lining them up across the box, and saying to Winnipeg, go ahead, push it around in front of us, as long as you don't get past us.
Throw in for the Fury. Cambridge. Robbie Clue marking him for Hamilton. Cambridge, nice job to get away. One step too many. And there you see Paul Clark with his left ankle taped and being iced down. He had twisted it about midway through the first half, and so Clark is out of the game for the Fury. Hamilton has also made one substitution. Jerry Gray out of the lineup and Robbie Clue in. And the wind continues to gust here at Winnipeg Stadium, and it is right out of the north.
It's blowing right against Winnipeg, and I think Winnipeg may find it easier to play against the wind. Especially on this turf, the ball will stick for them a little bit better than it did in the first half when the wind was behind them. So they may prefer playing this way. Hamilton certainly enjoyed it.
And aren't you more likely to play balls along the ground on turf?
Well, as we said, that Sean Lowther hits a high ball, hoping that Van Dremelen can out-jump Gary Morrow, and that's going to be tough to do. Morrow, one of the best hitters of the ball in the league.
The pass for Cambridge, intercepted by Purdy. Gasparini.
18.
Lays it off for Guido Boyne. The fullback has moved up. Antonio heads it away. Now it's Jeff Onger trying to outrun Drew Ferguson, and Ferguson gets back. Played into the middle, skipping through. Oh, and just missing. Dave Foley thought he had one there for the Fury, but he just pushed it past the post.
Well, once again, Paul Dolan starts to come, can't quite get it. Now watch this. Foley gets a little toe to it. Dolan says, oh, it's got to go past, and it just sneaks past the post. Good effort by Foley, but the Hamilton defense caught ball watching there, allowing number 12 Foley to get a toe to that ball, and Dolan a little fortunate that it went past.
Cambridge to take the corner. The Fury need a goal. Chance in front. Burns can't get it, and it's finally cleared away. Foley! Oh, and how close can the Fury come before they finally get one? Throw in, still in the box. Cambridge tries and puts it wide.
Well, when the ball's not running for you, this is a perfect example of what happens. It goes through about 20 legs, rattles off the bottom of the post, with Dolan absolutely nowhere.
Through the legs of McLean and then off the post. McLean did a great job of screening.
He really did. But we've said so often that if you're at the top of the league, the ball seems to run for you. If you're struggling and you're desperate for a win, you seldom get the breaks. We saw it last week when the Montreal Supra played against the 86ers, that Montreal rattled one off the crossbar and could well have gone 1-0 up. But when you're at the bottom of the league, it seems that all the breaks go against you. Winnipeg Fury certainly good volume so far for a goal in this second half, and a huge crowd obviously hoping that they'll get at least one, hopefully three.
Well, they had a couple of great opportunities in the first half, and they've had a couple more here to open this second. We've played about 7 minutes, and it's still 2-0 Hamilton. Worst thing they could do is give up another one here. Steelers, though, working the ball in front. Finally cleared away as Vlado Vanis had the opportunity. Marinero trying to get it through, and then Purdy pushes it through, but the foul is on Marinero. Congratulations to the staff of the Winnipeg Fury. They have set an attendance record for the CSL, 9,361. Congratulations to the Fury and everybody here in Winnipeg.
Congratulations indeed. This new record is 1,366 more than the record set at Swangard last week of 7,995 when the 86ers took on the Victoria Vistas. Great performance by everybody involved with this Winnipeg Fury.
Doug Hardy had the opportunity, turned on it, right-footed it, but right into the open mitts of Paul Dolan. Van Dremelen to Foley, tried to sneak it through Boyne to Hardy, but Boyne was there. And the foul is on Boyne again, the left fullback of the Hamilton Steelers, as he came up and gave a little push to Foley. Cambridge, here come the Fury, they trail 2-0. Antonio gets ahead to it, but Dolan is there.
And just a reminder to our viewers that at the end of the game, as well as picking the AC Delta turning point, we'll be picking our Foster's player of the game. Hope you'll join in with us. I would think that perhaps Amadeo Gasparini would be one of the candidates this evening. Yeah, maybe number 4, the skipper of the Hamilton Steelers, Drew Ferguson.
Says his golf game is pretty good, Graham. He's shooting now into the 70s.
He just challenged me. It should be a good game then if he shoots in the 70s.
Nachita for Cambridge. To Sean Lowther for Nachita, midfield. Nice ball as they come square to Antonio. The run by McLean. And coming over was Robbie Clue.
Well read by Robbie Clue.
Something we saw in that Flamengo game and we made comment on is that where Flamengo and the good teams is as important what you do with the ball as what you do off it. And players have got to make space, huh?
Well, that was a good run by McLean, but Robbie Clue read it beautifully and managed to cut it off.
Nachita tries and can't get it by Boyd. Purdy heads it down. Foley is there to cover up for the Fury. Hardy working hard to finally get to the ball. Hardy for Nachita. Purdy out to put some pressure on him. In for Onger, trying to dipsy and doodle away from Chazaretta, and then finally it'll go over the sideline.
And right now, every yellow shirt except for Gasparini is inside the 30-yard line. That shows how much they're hanging on to this lead as Winnipeg press to get back into the game.
Jeff Onger gets the yellow card for getting a little too physical with Drew Ferguson. Certainly a player they can't afford to lose to cards. Ferguson for Dolan. And then he rolls it back again. Antonio heads it into touch. It'll be throw in again for the Steelers. It's that kind of game where it's cliche to say that next goal will mean everything, but you get that feeling. One more for Hamilton will kill the Fury spirit. One by Winnipeg could get them going. Antonio at the run, and coming over was Drew Ferguson. Steve Burns with the long throw in into the sunshine. Just outside the box, Ianero Onger in and bumps again with Lado Vanis, and now it's blown down. And the linesman on the far side, Mr. Tom Lamont, saying that the ball, did it go over the end line?
Yes, it did. It went over the byline, and the referee, Mario Perino, gave a corner kick, and everybody now in the yellow team is back inside the 20-yard box.
Cambridge in. Lucio Ianero clears. Burns punches it right back into the middle. Still in the box. Hardy is there. Can't get away, and it's finally cleared away by the Steelers. Hardy with the throw in again for the Fury as they press now, looking for a goal that might put them close.
And once again, the put comes up, and referee Mario Perino blows it dead right away. As soon as they've showed the studs or cleats, as they prefer to say in North America, the whistle goes.
Lowther tees it up. Here's a chance. Onger! Oh, what a save by Paul Dolan, as Jeff Onger thought he had one.
Very difficult turn for Jeff Onger to hit that ball with any force at all. It was running away from him. The shot is blocked. Jeff Onger gets to it first, but watch him try to turn. Here it comes. Very difficult to turn and hit it, but Paul Dolan still had to be sharp to keep it out. And Winnipeg certainly now putting the pressure on this Hamilton Steelers defense. Hamilton Steelers pulling everybody back except for Gasparini, and so far doing a pretty good job of keeping the goal intact.
Ball's through. Oh, Hector Marinado pulling down Van Dremelen, Jerry Van Dremelen. No foul on the play called by Mr. Perino. We've played 15 minutes of this second half. Sean Lowther takes control. Cesaretta is up though for the Steelers. Now it's Ianiero, Cesaretta, Gasparini in the middle, across, and finally cleared away by Tony Nachita.
What a great ball that was, played across by Lucio Ianiero. Hard and strong. All it needed was a little touch by one of the yellow shirts, but Tony Nachita takes no chances, wraps it high over the crossbar for a corner kick.
Headed away. They come to the near side. It's Ianiero again. Watch for Purdy and Gasparini up front, but the Fury will clear. Onger works it into the middle. And then it's just given away right back to Hector Marinero by Hardy. And then offside by Mark Purdy as he made the run through the middle for Hamilton. Burns, the long ball, onside, says the linesman, Jeff Onger. For the Fury, trying to work the ball across, he does, but the big man, Dolan is up for that one and had no problem.
And Guido Boyne said, thank you very much, Paul, because Guido Boyne played Jeff Unger onside by about 5 yards. The young fullback was dreaming there. Unger should have been offside, but way on the far touchline. Guido Boyne was, I think, admiring the crowd rather than keeping his eye on the ball.
Robbie Clue trying to push it through for Gasparini, but the offside flag. Out of town score, second half action at Centennial Stadium. Toronto leading 3-1. And Montreal, Edmonton are scoreless still at Claude Robillard, second half action.
I had a feeling that Calgary were in for a tough time against Toronto today after the way Toronto played against Flamengo. Not so much how they played as the benefit of playing against Flamengo. It had to rub off on them.
And here it's 2-0. Well, you said that after your Scottish international games that you came in and that really pumped you up because you had played at just a little higher level.
It certainly does, and playing against it, look out.
No offside. Hardy has a chance. Hardy, is it going to make it? No, and it just goes wide of the near post. It was a race. Hardy won it, but he couldn't find the direction.
But he did the right thing, a little chip towards the goal, and once again, the Hamilton defense is caught. Good little chip. They're not going to get the breaks this evening. Doug Hardy couldn't have done any better than that. Paul Dolan did well to come out, put him up a little bit. Good little chip, and it just kept running past the post. I think Hamilton a little fortunate now to be leading by 2-0 after the way this Winnipeg Fury side has come out in the second half.
Robbie Clue with the free kick goes wide. Boyne has moved up from his left fullback spot.
18!
Chazaretta, Clue, Vladovanis. Now it's Ferguson who makes the run from his right fullback spot. Ferguson in front, still bouncing around. Oh my, and just over the bar. Vladovanis left all alone. The Yugoslav import, the 22-year-old defender, had a chance to make it 3-0.
And the challenge of Amadeo Gasparini helps this ball break to Vladovanis. It sits beautifully for him, but instead of just poking it home, he decides to burst the net. He can't believe he put it about 10 yards over the bar. Not a very good effort, Vlado. That goal would have put the game away for this Hamilton Steelers side. You have to feel that 3-0 up, there's no way Winnipeg could come back. And I don't think Vladovanis will get a better opportunity in that if he plays till the end of the season.
Jeff Onger. McLean sees it open up. Burns. The through ball for Onger. Foley is in the middle. If he can get the ball over, it goes over the end line, and they'll say it's a goal kick. Paul Dolan has been forced to make some all-star saves. The CSL All-Star goalie of a year ago. It's still 2-0. Hamilton leading. The 2 goals, both within 11 minutes of the first half. Mark Purdy after 2 minutes. Amadeo Gasparini after 11, and that's the way it stands. Temper's a little short. And into touch. Throw in for the Fury. Lowther for Onger, and the little 1-2 pass broke down on pass number 3. Nachita, Antonio, and back. Now it's Nachita making the run. Gives it back for Antonio.
Well done,
Lucio Ianiero. The little man makes the big play as he takes it off the feet of Antonio. Chazaretta for Drew Ferguson, who booms it upfield. Lowther will take control, the player coach of these Winnipeg Fury. For Cambridge. Hardy. Purdy pressuring him. Lowther saying make some space. Foley makes the run. Boyne to mark him. Onger, Van Dremelen, Antonio are all in the middle if they can get the ball there. Lowther in and over the head of Kevin Antonio. We've played 21 minutes now of this second half. Still 2-0 Hamilton. Amadeo Gasparini, really now, as you mentioned, the only front runner for the Steelers. Cambridge waits, has a look, has Burns. Near side, Antonio. Nachita makes the run, chips it into the middle. Out comes Dolan, and there was no challenge from any Fury player. Dolan has the wind at his back. Nachita for Lowther. Onger to Lowther. Little give and go. They try it once too many. It's taken away neatly by Drew Ferguson. Onger near side. Battling with Hector Marinero. Cambridge takes the free kick very, very quickly. Laid it off. McLean was trying to tee it up. Hardy for Burns. Antonio trying to work his way through now. But they're trying to bunch up. Burns chips it through. Oh, and it's just punched away by Dolan.
A great save by Paul Dolan. That could have been a very awkward bounce as the white shirts were coming in at the far post, but the Canadian international goalkeeper panned it away safely for a corner kick. And Winnipeg must be due for a goal. They've had so many chances, it just won't run for them.
Nachita flicks it through. It still moves. Oh, and Cambridge then finally couldn't get it through as well.
And it still won't run for them.
Part of the Argentinian connection. That was Hector Chazareta. Drew Ferguson. Look at this. Gasparini, Chazareta moving up. Gasparini! Oh, and Rosenfeld stands his ground. Oh, if you're going to play up, you may get caught once in a while.
Well, they're going to get caught because they have to push forward, and Hamilton really break very quickly with the speed of Gasparini, but full marks to Brian Rosenfeld. Had he given up a rebound there, Hector Chazareta, the other half of the Argentinian connection, was all ready to tap it in.
Robbie Clue puts the ball down just inside the 45. Ferguson looking for Purdy and has it taken away from him, and now Ferguson puts it about 4 rows deep here at Winnipeg Stadium. It'll be throw in for the Fury. 20 minutes to go. Still 2-0 in front of a record CSL crowd here in Winnipeg. The Fury trying to send them home happy, but first they need a goal just to get on the board. They trail by 2. CSL Sunday on TSN. Sean Lowther trying to snap his team out of a 5-game losing streak. They're winless in 8. A big opportunity if they can win here or pick up a point to remain in contention for a playoff spot. They can't let Edmonton get too far ahead. Right now, the Brickmen hold down that 3rd and final playoff spot in the West. And it's pushed into the stands. And Vid Horvat with a chance for the win, and his Steelers to move into 2nd place ahead of the idle North York Rockets in the East. McLean looks and finds Hardy. Sean Lowther can't get it through, but he'll pick up the pieces of his pass. For Kevin Antonio, trying to get away from Purdy, and Purdy all over him, and then Purdy challenges Mr. Pardino. Lowther trying to make quick work of that free kick, and Chazareta gets the yellow.
Yeah, and quite rightly so, because Lowther was trying to take the free kick. Chazareta knows he has to be 10 yards back. He was wasting time, trying to allow his defense to get organized. Referee Mario Perino quite right to book the Argentinian striker.
And certainly now the yellow card allows them to get organized as Lowther plays it through, and where will it go? Over the end line? It'll be a corner kick, as it was nodded over the end line by Amadeo Gasparini. And
Paul Dolan just shook his head because he felt confident. He even said, leave it, let it run, because he felt confident it was a goal kick.
In front, McLean goes up but a little too high. Chazareta for Hamilton will take it on the bounce and play it upfield for Robbie Clue. And Clue is guilty of the obstruction on the way by. Put a little grab on Kevin Antonio, quickly taken by Lowther for Onger. Tony Nachita will try and settle it down, and he does. Now they have to work hard to keep it in play. Still do, as it rode the sideline. Van Dremelen, can he get it across? He'll play it off Venice, and it'll be corner for the Fury.
And good effort by Jerry Van Dremelen. It's so tough to hit that ball properly and get it into the penalty box when it's running away from you like that. And now every Hamilton player is back in the box.
Cambridge up and in and headed away by Gasparini. Oh, over the end line.
Well, don't forget to join us at the end of the game for our Foster's Player of the Game. Right now, it's tough to pick out anybody who's been absolutely outstanding. Hamilton, since they got the 2nd goal, have been content to sit back and hope for a break. Winnipeg have been pressing more and more into the game, but just can't buy a goal.
And time running out for the Fury, who trail by 2. I like the way Gasparini has played. He's in on everything. On the corners in his own area, his head is usually on a ball somewhere. He uses his height, and you never know. Without Bunbury here, it just may mean, some people saying he wasn't playing with the same kind of fire. He seems to have it in this one.
Well, he certainly took his second goal well, although he won't get too many free headers inside the 6-yard box like he did then. But it give him full marks. He took his goal well.
Antonio. Ianiero marking him. He needs some help. He needs some people to make some space. McLean for Cambridge. Chips it through, but nobody's running. Nobody's running for the Fury. And they just give it away. Chazaretta.
Well, when we announced the teams at the start, many eyebrows went up when Sean Lowther named a 3-defender, 4 midfield, 3 attacking lineup. Now there's only 2 defending because Nochita's got the freedom now to go forward.
And there he goes, Nochita, just failing to get by Hector Marinaro in the middle. Jeff Onger. Sean Lowther just volleys it back upfield. It looks like Wimbledon. Antonio finally brings it down to the turf. Cambridge. McLean has a look. Through to the middle. Oh, and Hardy just failing to get through.
That was a beautiful ball push through. The first touch of Doug Hardy let him down. Had he been able to control it properly, then he would have had a free shot on goal. But that was a beautiful ball push through. Once again, Hamilton Steelers defense caught. Hardy allowed to go in, but his first touch let him down.
The through ball, it's a race. Here comes Rosenfeld, who beats Gasparini. Again, Onger, Willie. Jeff Onger.
Well, Hamilton's defense was treading a thin line on offsides. Onger beats the offside trap. Dolan comes out to cut it out, gets a hand to it, but cannot stop the force of the shot. Hamilton caught once again. Onger this time makes them pay for it as he outruns Hector Marinaro, gets a little push, keeps his balance, hits it beautifully. Paul Dolan can only push it into the far corner. After 32 minutes in the second half, it's now 2-1.
Oh, the ball failed to control by Rosenfeld, and he gives away a corner now with the game just 1 goal separating Hamilton and Winnipeg. And now very little speed being shown by Chazaretta as he slowly walks over to the corner spot to take this Hamilton corner. 2-1. Chazaretta headed away, still there. Morrow couldn't get to it. Robbie Clew plays it back. Hector Marinaro. Onger. Marinaro comes to the near side for Chazaretta. Back in. Out comes Rosenfeld, and this time he beats Gasparini to the ball. Vid Horvad a little more concerned. His team started to sit back. Jeff Onger guilty of an offside as he ran behind the trap, the offside trap of Hamilton. 10.5 minutes to play. It's 2-1. What a wind-up here. CSL Sunday in front of a record crowd in Winnipeg. Gasparini is charged with the foul as he backed into McLean. Jeff Onger to the near side. Kevin Antonio. Little give and go. This is Burns. Hardy makes the run. Van Dremelen as the crowd comes alive, and Van Dremelen can't get the cross. It's 2-1. Hamilton leading Winnipeg. 10 minutes to go. Foster, CSL Sunday on TSN.
Do thoughts of London and Paris make your spirit soar? Think red. Air Canada red. You're as good as there.
Every Wednesday night this summer, follow the hard-hitting action of the CFL's top teams on TSN. Wednesday, July 12th, Calgary battles Saskatchewan live from Taylor Field in Regina. CFL blackouts are in effect, so check your local listings.
It's a Hollywood finish here in Winnipeg. 2-1. Hamilton trying to hold on. The Fury applying pressure throughout this second half. And in fact, they may be, for all their chances, Graham, maybe they should be leading this one.
They certainly have had more scoring opportunities than the Hamilton Steelers, but the ball just wouldn't run for them. Even on that shot by Jeff Onger, Paul Dolan got a hand to it. The way things have been going for Winnipeg, I wouldn't have been surprised if it hit the far post and bounced out. But once they got the break and it went off Dolan and into the side netting. And full marks to Jeff Onger. He's run well, he's tackled well, he's chased every ball. Could be one of our candidates for our Foster's Player of the Game award.
Dave Foley hustles to get the ball and plays it to Rosenfeld. Sean Lowther will take control for the Fury. Slowly works it upfield.
Nope.
To Nachita. Makes the run through. And Onger saying, nice ball, I just couldn't get there. Just a little more than 8 minutes to play. Hardy plays it through for Onger. Van Dremelen is in the middle, but this time the offside flag does go up from Tom Lamont. But the Steelers under an awful lot of pressure. Ferguson for Dolan, and the keeper will take his time. Onger goes up to make a passing challenge, and he booms it downfield. Foley will have it go into touch, throw in, and he just gives it to Rosenfeld. Lowther. Nachita, and a nice ball along the sideline for Onger. Onger battling with Marinero and wins the ball, and then it's put into touch by Marinero. And Marinero wanting to know why the ball wasn't called, but the linesman was right there. The long throw in. McLean gets up. Onger is there. Morrow heads it, and the challenge and the foul is on Jeff Onger. Can his team hold on? Vid Horvat, the Steelers, leading by 1. Their goals came early. They had 2 opportunities, and they cashed them both in, the Steelers, at 2 minutes and 11 minutes. And since then, it has really been the Winnipeg Fury. Chazaretta runs down Steve Burns from behind. Sean Lowther says, let's go, boys, let's play. Cambridge lays it off. Oh, the little ball through. Hardy! Oh!
Close, but no cigar, Doug. Great effort. The ball sits beautifully. Little touch off by Jeff Unger. The Hamilton players back off. It breaks nicely to Doug Hardy. He hits it well. Paul Dolan gropes for it, but goes just wide. I think had that been on target, Paul Dolan would certainly have got it covered.
Good effort by Chazaretta to keep the ball in play near sideline. Has Mark Purdy. Purdy tries to work through, and he can't get by Lowther. 5 minutes now and less to play. 2-1 Hamilton here in Winnipeg. Burns with the throw in. Ian McLean. Cambridge trying to get away from Purdy, and does. McLean then just gives it away. Ferguson clears. Chazaretta on the offside.
Gasparini point into the line, said, I was in my own half. Unfortunately, he was on the 50-yard line in the opposition half and not on the center line. Very confusing. And
Nachita in front. Unger tries to head it toward the net, and it's cleared away by the Steelers. Ball into the stands. They want it back quickly, and the fans give it right back to their Fury. They know time now of the essence. Still in the box, and out comes Dolan. Sean Lowther gets the ball up. Burns. Now it's Robbie Clue taking control, and then he volleys it through again. And once again, it's Gasparini complaining that he is onside.
Well, he was offside, and the linesman put his flag up right away. And right now, Gasparini being a little bit lazy. He's not asked to come back like the other players. At least he can come back and be onside. Just make a little effort.
That ball for Unger ran a little too long, a little too far. Cleared into touch, and it'll be a throw-in for the Fury. 2.5 minutes remaining on the stadium clock here in Winnipeg. Foley gets it in front. Cambridge trying to control. Vlado Vanis will clear for Hamilton. Amadeo Gasparini. Robbie Clue is making a run in the middle. Chazaretta is trying to come up and help out as well, and it's cleared into touch. The referee saying it's a free kick, and the Fury will take it quickly. Cambridge to Burns to Kevin Antonio, trying to get away from Ian Ito, who puts the clutch and grab on the youngster, and it'll be free kick for Winnipeg. Hardy chesting it down, still in control, and then it's pushed over the end line, and it'll be corner kick for the Fury. Unofficially, 1.5 minutes to play. Cambridge runs over to take what could be the last chance for Winnipeg as they look for the tying goal. Jeff Unger got up and headed it over.
Nice corner kick. Paul Dolan can't get to it, but once again, it fails to find the target.
Dolan well upfield, play down by McLean. Cambridge through. Oh! That may have been a saving header by Hector Marinero. As Marinero just got his head on the ball, and now the play has been blown down. But Marinero able to flick that through ball as Onger was breaking. Chazaretta gets away from the sliding tackle, and it's blown dead as McLean is charged with a foul, and now Chazaretta grabbing for his ankle, and Mr. Perino saying, come on, I know what's going on, and he immediately goes to his watch and stops time. Now he calls for the Steeler trainer. Marinero is over. Victor Ashby is out to have a look at Chazaretta. Vid Horvat. Now Mr. Perino saying, if you want to treat him, take him off the field. And Chazaretta, on the urging of Mr. Perino, is up and trying to walk it off. We're into injury time now. 2-1 Hamilton. Purdy with Foley marking him. The Cheetahs back as well. The Fury need the ball. They need a goal. Sean Lowther. Purdy doing a good job to keep the pressure on and forcing Lowther to put it into touch. Guido Boyne with the throw in for Purdy. This is Cambridge. He'll give it to Rosenfeld, and Rosenfeld booms it upfield. Maybe, just maybe, one last chance for the Fury. Kevin Antonio, did he give it away? Oh, you bet he did. And Ferguson puts it 10 rows up into the stands. No chances for Drew.
No, higher up the stands, the better for Drew Ferguson there.
Throw in. It's down. Maybe. Yes, the Fury have tied it. Dave Foley.
Well, Steve Burn's throw-ins have been causing problems for Hamilton all night. He throws it right into the penalty box. It's flicked on once again. Hamilton defense stand and watch, but not Dave Foley. This time he wraps it right into the corner, makes up for his little mistake that cost Winnipeg the first goal, and it's 2-0.
And you bet a goal like that will bring the smile to your face in front of a record crowd of 9,361, and we're all tied. It's 2-2. And by our watch, that goal came in injury time, extra time.
And on the balance of play in this second half, Winnipeg Fury certainly good value for this 2-2 tie.
And that's it. There's the whistle from Mr. Perino. The goal did come in extra time, and these 9,300 plus will go home happy.
They certainly will go home happy, because Dave Foley, with that injury time goal, gave the Winnipeg Fury a 2-2 tie, and on the balance of play, I think they certainly deserved it.
Brian Rosenfeld being congratulated by his teammates after a rough start, but they can't.
Eagles FOE 35-23. Representing the Greater Highline Burien community. These are high school girls. There are 5 middle schools represented as well, and several elementary schools.
Now, are they going to tap dance for us?
All the way?
They've got clickers on those shoes. I wonder what they're going to do.
Find myself tapping in time.
Yes.
This team is entering its 34th year, making it one of the oldest ongoing drill teams in the state of Washington.
Nice precision. By the way, I'm a history buff, so I got a whole bunch of little things for you here. When our population was only 100,000 way back in 1910, do you know how many people went to the PNE? 68,000 showed up. So that means almost three-quarters of the population. Well, actually, they didn't have television. They didn't have a whole lot to do back in those days.
Okay, now I'm a history buff too. Do you know what the most popular ride at the PNE's Playland is? Can you guess?
No, I can't. The roller coaster.
Hey, you got it. Certainly.
I was going to say the merry-go-round or the roller coaster.
It's the roller coaster. And here we have the Klahani Campground. The theme is a logging display. And this float includes a model of Shannon Falls. Is that real water that's coming down there, Phil?
It looks like it.
Yeah, with actual running water. A miniature logging scene.
And by the way, Klahani, which means the great outdoors, has won the award for the most original float. And certainly it is. And there's not only water, but you see the little men climbing up the rocks. Everybody loves to do scaling the rocks in that part of the world. And the Klahani restaurant, I think many of us who travel 99 all the time certainly know that.
There's the Shannon Falls going by again.
And the Royal Hudson, of course, that goes by there every day.
Squamish.
Well, our BC Lions, while you were away in Hawaii enjoying the sunshine, our BC Lions finally won their first football game. So we're 1-5 right now. And boy, did they play a good game against the Toronto Argonauts. And everybody thinks the team has turned around after those 5 straight losses. And it looks like they're on their winning way again. Here's some of the BC Lions riding on the CKNW float.
Go Lions.
Those guys look tough, don't they?
They look